Well, welcome this evening. My name's Deb Marr, and I'm in the Department of Biology at Indiana University South Bend. The Our Universe Revealed lecture series is a partnership between the St. Joseph County Public Library, science faculty at the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences at IU South Bend, and then also the science faculty at University of Notre Dame. And we've had a wonderful series this year. We've talked about everything from other galaxies to things that are thinking about in our guts. And tonight we're going to be thinking about dancing and math and creativity. So our speaker tonight is Dr. Amanda Serenevy. She got her Bachelor of Arts degree in mathematics at IU South Bend. And then she got her PhD in math at Boston University. She's currently the executive director of the Riverbend Community Math Center, which actually embodies the purpose of this series. So the purpose of this series is to just share cool science things that are happening with everybody, people of all ages. And the purpose of the Riverbend Community Math Center is to share math with people of all ages and get people interested. So Dr. Serenevy leads math circles for high school students that are interested in diving deeper into math. There are Tuesday and Thursday evening science events that are sort of innovative STEM fields. Anyway, so the Riverbend Math Center, they do all sorts of projects for the community, and they're very active. So tonight, Dr. Serenevy is going to be talking about math and creativity and thinking about how we can dance. And so I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. So first I will say a few words about the Riverbend Community Math Center. The math circles are actually for 4-year-olds all the way through high school students. They meet at Notre Dame, and faculty in the Department of Mathematics, along with their students, help lead those sessions for different age groups, and they meet Wednesday afternoons. And there's a flyer there if you know anyone who's age 4 through 12th grade who might like that. We also do have the prototyping team. That is more for high school students. We hire high school students who are at least 14 to come and develop hands-on STEM activities for other students. So they create, they program, they use CAD, they cut things out with a laser cutter and 3D printer, and they design projects for kids. So that's also really fun, and if you know people who might like to join us on that. We also have other people who just hang out with the prototyping team and do whatever projects they feel like, who are younger or older, so that's all good too. But the prototyping team is sort of the core of that, and that's Tuesday and Thursday nights and also Saturday mornings, and you can join us on those.
Where is it located?
That part's just located about half a mile that way at Sibley Center, and there's a flyer there with the details.
So it's in that building that's behind that used car lot?
That's the one. It's back there on Tut Street. That's it. So anyway, and we should also mention, we also have an advanced math pathways program where we go into classrooms starting with 4th graders, and our goal is to help 4th graders find access to a path where they can graduate from 8th grade with Algebra 1 and or Geometry high school credits. And so we have a group at Madison Elementary School this year that's doing that Advanced Math Pathways program, and that's another project we have. So anyway, but today we're going to talk about dancing and rational tangles. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, I'm going to need my 4 volunteers to come up and hold ropes and move around. So are you willing to be one? You don't have to if you don't want to. You want to? Okay. Stand there. Do you want to try? Okay. So here you go. Oops, grab that rope. And you want to do it? And we need another person to come up here and stand with them. So who else will come? Oh, thank you. Okay, I want you to take a giant step that way, okay? And then actually everybody step towards each other, 1 step. Perfect. And then let's do another half step in. We're trying to be a square-ish. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. So this is a little bit like square dancing. There are 2 moves. It's called do-si-do and turn 'em round. Now, do-si-do, whoever is standing right here lifts the arm up, And then you don't put your arm up, you go under, and then you switch places. So go ahead and go. Yep. Oops, so that was a do-si-do. Now let's try do-si-do again. Now you're standing there, so you raise your arm up and go over there. So move over there. That's do-si-do. Now notice what's happening with the rope here. It's starting to get tangled up a little bit. So that's do-si-do. Now let's go ahead and turn them around. Now for turn them around, you go there, you go there, you go there, and you go there. So everybody move one spot on the square and then stop. That is a turn them around. Okay, now let's just go ahead and do-si-do again. So that means you're going to raise your arm up, and now you're going to go under. Move over there. Perfect. Okay, and then let's turn them around again. And let's do-si-do again. So, yep, move over there. That's great. And then do-si-do one more time. So now you have to raise your arm up and go over that way. Perfect. Now notice it was starting to get tangled up, and then even though we never undo-si-doed or unturned them around, it untangled. So that is the thing. It's possible to get a tangle on there and then undo it somehow. And that is the puzzle you guys are going to have to solve tonight. The whole audience is going to have to help figure this out. So let me go ahead and find my nifty button, which I lost. There we go. The rule is that do-si-do adds 1, and the turn them around makes whatever we have into the negative reciprocal. So what number, so when I say rational tangles, what are rational numbers? Well, they are fractions with a number on top and a number in the bottom. As long as the number in the bottom is not 0, we're good. So that's what this is about. Rational in rational tangles is the fact that we're doing fractions here. So what number do you think represents how tangled up the ropes are now? What number do you think this is? How tangled up is this?
0.
0. So we're starting at 0 over here. And now we're going to make a tangle. So do-si-do. Go ahead. Yep. So I'm putting a D on top of my arrow, and do-si-do adds 1. So what's 0 plus 1?
1.
1. Okay, let's do-si-do again. Go ahead. Yep. Now what do you think comes next then? 1 plus 1 is? 2. Okay, do-si-do one more time. Okay. And now we're at 3. Now let's turn them around. So everyone go one spot and stop. Okay, now I'm going to put an arrow and a T. Now the question is, what is this? If I take the 3, does anyone know how to write 3 as a fraction? Do you know what's in the bottom here?
1.
3 over 1. So if I flip it and make it the opposite sign, what is that? And make it the opposite sign? Negative 1/3. That's it. Okay, so negative 1/3 is what that turns into. So we're now at negative 1/3. So now this is where it gets exciting. So go ahead and do-si-do now. So this is a little tricky. Negative 1/3 plus 1. If I'm going to add fractions, does anyone know what you need when you're trying to add fractions? You need a common denominator. So right now I owe 1/3, and if I'm going to add 1, that's the same as adding 3/3, because 3/3 is all of the whole thing. So if I owe 1/3 and I have 3/3, how many thirds do I have left? 2/3. So this D is taking us to 2/3. Do-si-do. Oh, the other one. Sorry. There you go. So we're do-si-doing, and 2/3 plus another 3/3 is 5/3. It is what we like in proper fractions and rational tangles. That's our thing. We don't do any mixed numbers in proper, with rational tangles. Okay, so do-si-do one more time. Okay, and that one is 5/3 plus another 3/3, 8/3. Great. Now we need to do a turn 'em around. Turn 'em around. And what does that become? If I flip that over and make it the opposite sign? There we go, -3/8. Okay, And now we're going to do a do-si-do. Okay. How many eighths is in one whole? How many eighths does it take to make the whole thing? 8 eighths. Oh, yeah. So negative 3 eighths. So we owe 3 eighths, and we've got 8 eighths. How many are left?
5 eighths.
There we go. 5 eighths. So we're at 5 eighths. Just one more. Do-si-do. Okay, so 5 eighths plus another 1, 8 eighths. What's 5 eighths plus 8 eighths? Well, what's 5 eighths plus 8 eighths? That's okay. Yeah, you're thinking right. 13 eighths. Okay, this glorious tangle right here is 13 eighths. So I'm going to try to hold this up. I don't know if you guys can see this very well, but it's a tangled up bit of rope here. And so don't drop your ropes, guys. Just saying. This is what negative 13 eighths. Good recovery. Okay, this is what negative 13 eighths looks like. Or sorry, 13 eighths looks like. Now, and we're going to find out later, the idea is that this is a mathematical model. So in other words, every fraction stands for a way that the ropes could be. And my assertion that I'm not proving at this point is that this model is so good that we can use it even if you can't see the ropes. So I'm going to grab my bag. Oh, where did my bag go? There it is. It fell off the table. Ha. The purple bag. I'm going to take this bag. So you're not going to be able to see this tangle anymore because I am going to tie this bag around it if I can. So let me see here. Yeah. I guess what I'll do is I'll tie it like this, and then I'm going to tie it like that. Now, some of it is leaking out. However, because this is on here, trust me, you can't tell what's going on. Yeah, you might think that you're untangling things. You'll have no idea by looking at that. That's just a complete confusing thing. So now we need you all to get back to 0. And that means I need someone else to come up to the board and be willing to write. Actually, I'm going to need 2 people to come up. I'm going to need 1 person to poll the audience about what to do next. And then I'm going to need another person to write on the board so that we don't lose our place. Who's good at writing on the board? Anyone good at that? Come on up. Okay. All right, and now who is willing to poll the audience and stand up here and tell them what to do? Anyone? Sandeep? That's what you get for coming to a talk where I know you. Okay, so Sandeep, you're going to just face the audience, and you have to decide at every point whether they should do-si-do or turn them around. You should do what they want. So ask them what they think, and then that's what you should decide roughly. If they don't have a good reason, you don't have to do what they say.
So I'm polling the audience how?
You're going to ask them whether you think you should do-si-do or turn them around.
Okay.
The goal is to get back to 0. Now, here's the thing. If the dancers keep pace with you and the writer keeps pace with the dancers and we don't make any arithmetic mistakes, then when you get to 0 there, I take off the bag. It should be untied. That's the goal. But you guys have to figure out how to get 13 eighths back to 0. So remember, do-si-do adds 1. Turn them around is the negative reciprocal. So everyone, ask them, what do they think you should do?
Do-si-do. Raise hands. If you think we should do that, Amanda, please correct me if I'm polling incorrectly.
You're doing great. Okay, I don't see it. You better ask for the other one.
Turn around. Okay, so that was do-si-do 0, turn around 2.
That's what you got.
Okay, all right. I guess you'll have to turn around.
We'll have to get more people chiming in the next time.
All right, do-si-do.
And that is negative 8/13. Awesome. So you're at negative 8/13.
Do-si-do. Anyone? 1. Turn around.
Oh, wait, you had more. You had more do-si-dos.
Oh, wait, how many? Do-si-do? 2, 3.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, you got 5. You got 5 do-si-dos there at the end. Okay. Is that right?
Yeah, please check.
Yay, we're at 5/13.
That's why I didn't volunteer, Deb.
I know. You can make them do the math if you want, but that's all right.
All in favor of do-si-do, raise your hand. 2. All in favor of turn around. Okay, do-si-do.
All right, do-si-do.
18.
Okay, and remember, you are trying to get to 0.
All right, all in favor of do-si-do. All in favor of turn around. Turn around. All in favor of do-si-do. 1. All in favor of turn around.
I can't do math anymore.
0. Okay, do-si-do.
Yeah.
So you have negative 13/18 plus 18/18, which is,
6/18, 4, 1, 5, 1, 3.
I think it's 5/18 actually.
5/18.
You know,
I liked your
What's-
word.
yeah, it would be nice if it's simplified.
I'm.
I'm
That's right.
Negative 5/18, right? I don't
No,
remember.
because 18 is.
Oh, okay,
Negative.
you're right, okay.
We're still talking.
But good to check.
All in favor of do-si-do.
So stressful.
All in favor of turn around. Were there any do-si-dos?
There were no do-si-dos and there's one turn around. So I mean, people are anxious about deciding at this point.
Maybe or more. All right, do-si-do, anyone? 3, 4, 5. Okay, turn around, anyone? 0, okay, do-si-do.
You're at negative 13/5.
All right, do-si-do. 2. Turn around. 1. Okay, we're gonna do do-si-do, I guess.
All right. You're fine, sorry. I think that's 8 again. But, you know, it'd probably be better if it were 7.
It matters.
All right, anybody do-si-do? 2, 3, 4. Anyone turn around? Okay, do-si-do.
Do-si-dos have it. And you're at negative 3/5.
We're getting closer to 0.
See, it's getting better. It's better than 15/18 or whatever. No, 18/13, whatever it was. Yeah. Negative 3/5. What do you want to do now?
Do-si-do? Anyone?
We do again, we'll be at 2/5. 2/5.
All right, anyone turn around? 3. Okay, we're gonna turn around.
Okay. So now you're at 5/3. So do you think you should do-si-do or turn around? So remember, do-si-do adds 1. Turn around is the negative reciprocal.
Do-si-do? 0. 1. Turn around. 1. All right.
Well, you got several.
Oh,
You got several. Yeah, you got one there and one there.
okay. All right, well, we're gonna turn around, I guess.
And you're back to the negative 3/5. So what happened there? You turned around, you got 5/3, you turned around again. Right. So two turnarounds. If you're like, actually, we didn't really want to turn around. That's sort of a, that's fine.
All right, do-si-do?
Let's do
3, turn around. 0. Okay, do-si-do. All right, turn around. Anyone? Do-si-do, anyone?
Yeah, 2 fists, what do you think?
Do-
Do-si-do or turn 'em around?
We'll do this again. Anyone do-si-do? Anyone turn around? Lots of people. Okay, turning around.
And we're at -5 halves. It's looking better and better. Yay. Now what? Well, maybe. I mean, who can tell, really? Maybe it's better.
Do-si-do. Turn around. I guess do-si-do wins.
So -5 halves plus 2 halves is -3 halves. All right.
Okay, anyone think we should do-si-do? 4. Anyone think we should turn around? 1. All right, we're at do-si-do.
So -3 halves plus 2 halves is -1 half. See, that seems very promising. Or not. Who knows?
Do-si-do. Anyone think we should turn around? Is that a tie?
You better ask again, I guess.
Okay, anyone think we should do-si-do? How many? 1, 2, 3. Okay, anyone think we should turn around? 4.
That's a tie.
5.
Ooh, okay, it's not a tie.
Turn around.
Yes, and why do you choose?
Because then we're at 2.
I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, we should discuss this. Like, why are people picking what they're picking? But, you know. Yeah.
Nice, because it makes a nice whole number, and I think, oh, then we'll be able to 0. Wait a second, how are we doing that?
1, so technically we're at 1.
So if you're at,
-1?
not without undo-si-doing, which isn't
Undo-si-do.
allowed. So you can add 1. Do you think that'll get you to 0?
All right, anyone think we should do-si-do? 1, 2, 3. Did I see 3? Okay, anyone think we should turn around? See 1. Okay, I guess we're do-si-doing.
Oh, wait.
Wait a second.
I think you got to get more people. So maybe we should go for, he suggested having reasons. Maybe the people who want to do-si-do should explain why, and the people who want to turn around should explain why.
All right, anyone who's going to do do-si-do, please explain the reasoning now or forever hold your peace.
There you go. Does everyone
Forever hold your peace.
Does anyone have a reason for do-si-doing? Just because it's fun? It's a good reason. It is kind of fun. All right. Does anyone have a reason for the turn 'em around? Ooh, no reasons on either side. Uh-oh.
I think our non is so great.
Who knows? Who knows? It might be completely messed up. So you're at 2. What do you think? Should we add 1 or should we take the negative reciprocal? Which one is going to help us get to 0?
Okay, so my rationale was for the turn around was that if I'm adding the negative reciprocal, now I'm closer to 0 than I am at 2.
No,
So
then we're at -1 half.
Right. So -1/2 is a half away from 0 versus now I'm 2 away from 0. Not that that really has any validity to it, but that is.
It's a
that is
reason.
where my brain
It's a
was.
reason. It's a reason.
You didn't say it had to be a good reason, but it is where my brain was.
But just, we can take a couple steps, thinking if we can get to -1/2,
Mm-hmm.
and then you add 1, you come to a positive 1/2, and then if you flip it over, that will be a -2. So I'm trying to converge toward a.
I think we should turn around.
Why do you think so?
Because if we get to -1/2 and then add 1, it's positive 1/2.
Yeah.
And then if we turn around, then we get -2,
-2, yeah.
and then we could add 2, and then we're back to 0.
Ah, that sounds like a plan. So let's do that. What was the plan?
Okay, we're at -1/2. Now what?
You'll see that.
So -1/2 plus 2/2 is +1/2. Yay.
Turn around.
So you're at +1/2, and now you're at -2. And that should be 0, because they just do-si-doed the last one. So now, whatever you do, do not drop your ropes. Step a little bit in, so don't pull. Give me some slack here, but don't drop the ropes. Did I mention that? No, don't. Okay.
Because they'll have to do it all again.
It's a lot of dancing that you guys had to do.
Okay.
Now, gently shake, but don't jerk it. Just gently shake a little, Okay, let me help this a little bit. Okay, shake a little more. Ah! Waha! It is really 0. So, first of all, we should give our dancers a round of applause. And the audience did a fantastic job as well. So I'm going to take those ropes. Thank you very much for dancing. So that is the Rational Tangles dance. And what it illustrates, doesn't prove it, but it illustrates that this model of being able to name tangled up ropes with fractions works well enough that we can untangle it, despite the odds. So, by the way, when is it a good idea to do-si-do, and when is it a good idea to turn them around? Does anyone have a theory? Like when do you decide to do-si-do, and when do you decide to turn them around? Does anyone have like a system? See, that's something we could, yeah, do you have a theory? Go ahead.
Turn them around is a good thing to do when you have 1 in the numerator, +1 in the numerator. Then you end up with a negative whole number.
That would be good. So that's a good time to do it. Agreed. Okay. So we'll come back to that question. I want to talk a little bit more about the background of rational tangles. So the idea behind the Rational Tangles dance, those ideas were created by John Conway in 1970. There's a really nice paper that he wrote. What he was trying to do was characterize certain classes of knots. Knots, tangled up rope, either one strand or multiple strands, are famously very difficult to understand or explain. Like knot theory is a hard area of math. And John Conway was working on that and came up with the Rational Tangles dance. It doesn't do all knots, but it can handle, you can basically give numbers to a whole bunch of things that can be generated by twisting a lot, and then you can put those pieces together and make knots. So that was the idea behind the Rational Tangles that John Conway came up with in his paper. But in recent decades, mathematical biologists have used these ideas to study tangled DNA. So Dr. Candace Price was kind enough, she works in University of San Diego. She's a mathematical biologist who has actually been working in this area in the last decade, and she was kind enough to share some images on the next few slides with me so we can see how she uses this. So DNA, sometimes it comes in loops, and sometimes those loops actually do get tangled up and intertwined into knots. It also just gets tangled up. Like DNA, if you take something that's long and stringy, like string in a drawer, and you shake it around a lot, it gets tangled. But the problem is that for transcription to occur, a lot of times the DNA has to be unzipped and read. And if it's all snarled up, that cannot happen. And so there is an enzyme called topoisomerase. And this is a sort of cartoon of what topoisomerase does. What it does is it latches onto a strand, and then another strand. So this is the first strand it grabbed, and then another strand that it grabbed. And then what it does is it breaks the lower strand, moves the green strand down through it, and then lets that green one go. So the result is, whereas before the green strand was above it, it cuts the other one and it comes out the bottom. So this is the job topoisomerase is doing, but the thing is, the question that Candace Price and other mathematical biologists are trying to understand is how does topoisomerase know it made it better? Like you just start grabbing strands and putting them through each other. That could just snarl it up worse. Who knows? Like how does it know this is a good idea? And nobody really understands that question. So Candace Price was trying to help biologists find ways to even express what they're seeing when they look at scans of DNA. Like what is it? Can we name what this is? And can we name the tangle we had before and after, or the knot we had before and after? So this is an example here, which she sent me. Basically, the green triangle-y thing here, that is a tangle because there are two ends up here, 1, 2, and there are two ends here, 3, 4. And the part in that green triangle is a certain tangle. And then also the circle is another tangle. It's got 4 ends on that circle, 1, 2, 3, 4, for the 4 ends of where the people were holding the ropes. And so all of these can be generated, and then they're attached to each other by just being connected. So you can decompose knots into tangles. That's the idea. And so, and notice that the crossing here has been changed. Here, this one was on top, and now here, this one is on top. And so we can now describe what those tangles are and what the result is. That's the purpose of the dance. So that's what rational tangles is. Does anyone have any questions about after doing the rational tangles dance, what should we wonder? What should we ask ourselves? What would we like to know next?
Numbers for the D and T.
Oh, that's a good one. Like why is it add 1 and do the negative reciprocal? Would something else work? That's a great question. Yeah, what's another good question? Yeah.
Does this always work? In other words, is the knot always a valid model of what that rational number is that it corresponds to? Can you actually use this to model the rational numbers and always get the quote-unquote correct answer?
Right. We haven't really proven that here. We're just hoping it's working at this point. Yes. So how reliable is this, and can we come up with the correspondence? That's a really good mathematical question. It's another good question we should wonder. Yes?
So if you look at a knot, how do you assign a number to it without having generated the knot itself?
Ah, that's a really good thing too. It's like, especially here, if I'm going to do this, how do I figure out what that is? Yeah. Other questions? Other questions do we have?
Is this leading to protein movement?
Whoa, actually,
Or unfolding?
not directly that I know of, I guess, but I don't.
I'm just wondering how they're applying it to DNA.
Yeah. You might actually know that better than I do. But
I would say that protein folding is going to be more complicated than DNA.
yeah.
Because the protein, they have several layers. So if they did put it, so you'd have to have many more rules, I think, than DNA, because DNA is just a double helix. It just has one.
Well, my understanding is the epigenome is the next thing they want to tackle, and that is all protein folding. pretty much, where they turn genes on and off based on.
Also a good thing to look at, for sure. Okay, there are other questions. We could do other moves, right? We did do-si-do and turn around. Well, some of my students invented the baseball slide. It's a different way. What does that function do? Like, what does that do if you, do you guys want to see the baseball slide? Yeah. So let me show you the baseball slide. We have some people who are short enough they can probably do it. Here, come help me with this. Okay. You want to hold this? Okay, I'm gonna need my fourth person back again. Okay, we promise we won't make you slide though. Okay, so first of all, do-si-do. And do-si-do 2 more times. Yep. And there you go. Now, do you want to be the one to slide under the ropes? Can you do it? Okay, let's turn them around twice. Turn them around. And wait, actually stop right there. Let's just do one. Do you want to do the baseball slide? Sure. Okay. The baseball slide is everybody lift the ropes up. You have to go under there and come up between them. Can you go under? Ha! Good job. Now lower your hands in, and you have to slide over here. And you slide over here. That's the baseball slide, except that my 3rd graders actually slid, but I'm just saying. You might get rug burns over here. So in any case, that's the baseball slide. So the question is like, what does that do? What does that move do? There's another question. Okay, does anyone else have another question that we could do? Any other ideas? There we go. Okay, so those are all examples of mathematical questions that we could wonder. Lots more that we could do. In mathematics, there are many ways to be creative, and a lot of times people in grade school mathematics, in school math, you don't necessarily get to see some of the creative side of mathematics. But I think it's important to know that math really is a creative endeavor like any other art form or anything else. How can you be creative in mathematics? It isn't that you have to wait until you're in graduate school to be creative. Anybody can be creative with mathematics. So how? One example is to build what we call a new playground. So the playground here was, I have some ropes and some moves. What happens, right? That's the playground. My playground could be, I have some dots and some rules for connecting them. And then I have to wonder something, right? Or maybe I have some boxes, and there are rules for how to get from one box to the other. And you have to it's basically a game. You're making up a game, and then you're wondering what can happen with these rules, with these objects and these rules. What can happen? There are lots of mathematical playgrounds out there. There are lots of good puzzle books that have starter ideas. If you're new at making your own playground, one good way to start is like my students did with the baseball slide. You already have the ropes and the moving around, but they invented a new move. It's the same playground, but they put in a new ride on the playground, a new piece of equipment. So that's kind of like building onto a new playground, right? Building onto an existing playground. Exploring a playground is another way to be creative. So even if you didn't invent it, maybe you're in on the ground floor of exploring it. What can happen? Trying it out. What happens when you do this? Organizing the results so that you could look for patterns. So somebody might say, it might help if we made a chart, or if we tried a bunch of things and we saw what happened if we did it this way or did it that way. So organizing the results. Making conjectures, that means guesses. In science, we say hypothesis. In math, we say conjecture. A conjecture is just a guess about a pattern that we think we see. And so that's what that is. Proving theorems is where you actually are certain you're right. You can explain why it has to be that way. And it's not just a guess anymore. You know it's got to be true. Then communicating the results. That means writing or talking to other people about what you found out. And finally, finding connections between different playgrounds. Like someone has a playground over here and one over there, and it turns out there's something the same about them, even though they look totally different. That is also an exciting thing in mathematics, when really different looking things turn out to be the same in some level. And there are mathematicians who work at different levels. There are some mathematicians who just churn out new playgrounds every day of the year, playing around with them. And I do have to tell you, usually when you do that, 90% of what you try doesn't work very well. It turns out it's sort of boring, or it's already been done or something like that. But, maybe 10% of the time you're like, that's interesting. I've never seen that before. Here's something to play with. Then exploring a playground, a lot of people start there. Some people are really good at just communicating. So they will just work with the research groups, different research groups, and try to explain it in a way that other people can understand it. That's very important, because if no one can understand your work, it never happened. That's the truth. You have to be able to write and explain your results. And then find connections between different playgrounds. There's some mathematicians who just go around saying, way in abstract algebra and, applied knot theory or something else over here, and then they try to find a way to merge those worlds, differential geometry or something. So anyway, this is the world that we live in. I think, let me see, what time is it? Let's see if we have time, or if we're out.
7:13.
So it's time to go. All right. Yes, we will go now. So if people want to hang around and try more rope dancing, I'll still be here. I'm not going anywhere.
13.
Oh, 7:13. So we have more time. Okay, I'm sorry. Then let's do it. Let's see if we can figure out when we should do-si-do and when we should turn them around and get a theory about that. Because we're kind of close, I think. You guys were mostly knowing what to do, and a lot of times people were agreeing, but I don't think we've articulated why we do-si-do or turn around. Okay, you guys ready to dance some more? Okay. All right. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. All right, I'm going to erase this. So let's just try. Okay. All right, here I am at 0. What should we do first? Do-si-do. Good call. And that takes us to 1. Now what? So let's just do-si-do again.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a fraction that's interesting to start with. Okay, so we got do-si-do again. Now what? Should we do-si-do again, or do you want to turn it?
Turn twice and do-si-do again twice.
Sure, let's turn twice. So if we turn twice, that's going to be to -1/2 and then back to 2 again. And then do-si-do. And what is that number now? 3. And are you going to do-si-do again? Okay. So now you're at 4. Shall we turn them around now? Let's turn them around. We have -1/4. Let's go ahead and do-si-do. What is that? -1/4 plus 1. So -1/4 plus 4/4 is 3/4. Yeah, okay, 3/4. Let's do-si-do again. 3/4 plus 4/4 is 7/4. Okay. Shall we go one more time? Do-si-do. 7/4 plus 4/4. Oh yeah, you're right. It's 11/4. Okay, nice. Shall we turn them around? Okay, turn them around. We're at -4/11. Do-si-do. And we're at 7/11. Is that a good one to start with? I think that's pretty good. Now, should I put the bag on or leave it off this time? Do you want to see it unravel, or do you want to see it? Do you want it to be a mystery?
I don't think it'll make any difference.
All right, fair enough. So we're at 7/11, and so what should we? Actually, I better erase it so we have more room. So this is, it's 7/11 exactly. Well, the thing is, you're not allowed to undo-si-do or unturn them around, so I think we're pretty safe. Okay, what would you like to do now? So what do you think? Should we do-si-do or turn around, and why? Who thinks we should do-si-do? Who thinks we should turn around? Does anyone have an opinion? So do-si-do, let me back this up to our screen where it says what that is again. So here we are. There we go. So should we add 1 Or should we take the negative reciprocal if we're trying to get back to 0?
Negative percent,
Why?
because otherwise I'm getting further away from 0.
Right, so does anyone agree with that? Do-si-do is a bad idea? If I add 1, 7 elevenths plus 11 elevenths is 18 elevenths. That seems worse, right? In almost any sense. So we should definitely turn them around right now. Okay, so go ahead. And, so now we're at negative 11 sevenths. So now here's the thing. If we just turned them around, and that was a good idea, should we turn them around again? No. So if we have to turn them around, what should always come next? If we're doing it right, it should be, unless we just like, oops, we want to undo. Okay, so that was a do-si-do, so that's negative 11 sevenths plus 7 sevenths, that's negative 4 sevenths. Now here's a really difficult decision, like we're at negative 4 sevenths, is that a time when you should do-si-do, or is that a time when you should turn them around if your goal is to get back to 0? Does anyone have an opinion? Anyone have an idea?
Do-si-do would put us back in the positive numbers at least.
Right, do-si-do would get us back positive.
And our denominator is relatively low.
True.
It forces us.
Yeah, if we did do-si-do, it does move it positive, and it's not, it's 3 sevenths. I don't know, that doesn't seem terrible to me. But what about turn around? Turn around would be 7 fourths. Any opinion about which one's better? 7 fourths or 3 sevenths? We're trying to get back to 0? What do you think? What do you think? Any ideas? Yeah.
Well, it seems like what we may want to do is get 1 in the numerator. We want a positive fraction with 1 in the numerator. So the question is, how do we get there? And that's what I'm not sure.
Right.
Bring paper.
Oh, yeah, I do have paper. So everybody's like, we need to calculate. We need to calculate. They do have papers, they don't have pens though. I have a few. Let's see.
I'm just gonna make it something.
Who needs paper?
I'll take this.
Here you go. Anyone else want paper and pencil? Okay.
I don't understand the process of the terms, but I do know that the people who are doing the do-si-do in here the other people have to do in that spot, to do the do-si-do to undo it. I can see that part, but I don't know how you use the terms to get there.
All right, any other takers? Okay, it won't help. Fair enough. You got a pen? Okay. All right, so we got some paper. So what do you think? Negative 4 sevenths. What seems promising? Should we be do-si-doing or turning them around? What do you think?
I just said ing.
Ing. Okay, what do you think?
Do-si-do.
Why do you think do-si-do?
It's closer to what?
Okay, so you think that 3 sevenths, the number 3 is closer to 1 than 4 is. Is that true? That's a reason. Okay, let's just try that. Let's do-si-do. So negative 4 sevenths plus 7 sevenths is 3 sevenths. So now what? Should we do-si-do from here, or should we turn them around from here? What do you think? Which one is better? So should we add 1? If we added 1, let's see here. Let's just sort of write down what are the options. So 3 sevenths, if we add 1, that's 10 sevenths. If we do the negative reciprocal, we're at negative 7/3. Which one is a better position to work from? Like, does this seem... Yeah, why?
Because I'm
And if I flip, so if I then do turn around again,
Mhm.
I'm,
You'd be back here.
yeah,
So if you did this, you would have to do-si-do next, pretty much.
oh, right. We already discussed.
Yeah, no worries, no worries, no worries. So we,
So then we know what to do.
so we would do-si-do again, and that would be what? -7/3, negative 4/3. Does that feel better? I don't know. 3/7, negative 4/3? You got an opinion? Which one do you feel like is the better route, 10/7 or negative 4/3?
Oh, wait, if we add one, then we're at -1/3.
Oh, this is, you're saying that this is feeling promising over here, this way.
Yeah, so then we're at -1/3, and then if we do the opposite reciprocal, then we're at 3/1, which is,
It's 3/1, it's,
so
Actually,
Just 3, then you do-si-do.
but then you do-si-do and it would become
right.
4.
Higher, right.
Yeah, yeah,
I vote in favor of do-si-doing after the negative 1/3.
okay, what would that do?
You would have 2/3, then you turn them round,
right,
negative 3/2, and then you end up getting to a route where you can get 1 in the numerator.
Okay, so, we kind of put our plan down here. Okay, so, tell me what, so,
So we're turning
what are we doing?
around.
Turning them around? Okay, turn them around, -7/3, and then,
Do-si-do 3 times.
yeah, so do-si-do 1 time to get to negative 4/3, and then do-si-do again to negative 1/3, and then do-si-do again to 2/3, and then turn them around to get to negative 3/2. And I'm going to erase all this. What do you think?
Do-si-do.
Yeah.
Okay, do-si-do?
Oh, did everybody agree?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think? Negative 3/2 plus 2/2 is negative 1/2. I mean, these sound like promising numbers, right? Then what do you do from negative 1/2? Do-si-do. Oh, yeah, we've been here before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Turn around. And that's our -2. And then we what? Okay. Let's do it. -1. And then we do-si-do one more time. And sure enough, it is 0. Now, here's the thing though. So looking at this, when do we decide to, so here, I'm gonna use a different color. We have these great other colors. So, dark. So I'm gonna box all the places where we turned them around. So let me go ahead and set the ropes down for a second, and then go ahead and sit for a second, and then we might come back. So let's just box all of these numbers before we turned them around. So we had 7/11s, we had 3/7s, we had 2/3. Where's another one?
1/2.
1/2. So the question is, why do we turn them around at those places and not the other places? They're positive.
The denominator's larger.
Yep. They're all positive numbers too, right?
Numerators become a denominator.
Right. So the question is, if we had some other positive number, would it ever be a good idea to do the negative reciprocal? Or sorry, to add one, sorry, to do-si-do instead of doing the negative reciprocal? Why not? Suppose you have 18 13ths or something. Should we go ahead and add 1 to this number?
I guess our conjecture is that we shouldn't do that.
We shouldn't do that. Why not, though? That's my question. Why should we not do-si-do when we have a positive fraction?
Further.
Yeah, it gets even farther away, yeah, yeah.
Because if you add 1 to that, now you end up with a large numerator, and then when you do a turn 'em round, now you've got a large denominator, which is harder to possibly get out of. I don't know.
Is it coincidence that the numerators became denominators each time you turned around, or is that part of the pattern?
It is part of, it's part of the rule, so yeah, so that's gonna happen. The numerators do become the next denominators as soon as you turn them around. That's very true.
Ones that you squared them.
So do you have a slide that shows the actual rules?
Well, you mean besides those rules?
No, I mean, the process based on what.
Oh, well, we're coming up with that now, right? Okay, so far, the conjecture is that we should turn them around if it's positive, and we should do-si-do if it's negative. That's what we got. That's it. That's the rule. We think that if we just do-si-do when it's negative and turn around when it's positive, that it should work. But are we sure that that's always going to get us entangled? Huh?
We can't prove it.
You got to prove it. That's exactly right. How do we prove it?
I don't know if I think you'd need some more constraints on that, but it at least converges it. It at least points it back toward the middle. If we ever go to the right of 0, then the reciprocal takes us to the left. If we're on the left, doing a do-si-do takes us to the right.
Yeah, so I mean, if we take something like 18/3, and we did our turn 'em round, we get negative 13/18. And then we, do-si-do at that point because it's negative. So negative 13/18 plus 18/18 is 5/18. So what has happened is we had two numbers, 18 and 13, that we were working with in our fraction, and now we have the two numbers 5 and 18. Yeah.
I'm going to propose, and I think I can prove it,
Yeah?
that when you follow this procedure,
Yeah?
i.e. when you do-si-do if it's negative, turn them around if it's positive, then whenever you turn them around, you are reducing the number in the denominator. And the reason that's the case is that right before you turn them around, you have a number that's between 0 and 1. The reason that's the case is that you were negative last time and you added 1. And
Right.
you
So,
got a positive number. In the
well, the first time it might not be, right? Like if I have 18/13s, I mean, I might initially have some horrible thing like that. That could happen.
Oh, I see. It actually did increase the denominator. Okay.
So that would increase it, but keep going though. Suppose that were the case and we went through one cycle of this, then what's true?
But I think you're right, after the initial condition.
Uh-huh. Because you never do-si-do on a positive, right? Can you ever get past 1 from a negative number by doing a do-si-do? Can you ever get above 1? Yeah, if you're at a negative, it means you're below 0, right? You add 1, you're definitely below 1. Yeah, so that means you're right. After you do this procedure, that first do-si-do out of the negatives is going to have a smaller numerator. It's going to be less than 1. Okay, good. So keep going.
So the result is that apart from the initial turn around, apart from that, you're always tending toward reducing the denominator. And so the question is, how does that help us? I guess, how did we finally get to a whole number? It was because see, that's the thing. It doesn't seem obvious that we have to reduce the denominator. It seems like you could, if you ended up at negative 20 sometime, that you would still be able to get out of it and get to 0. So why do we need to keep reducing the denominator? Do we need to? That's the question.
Oh, do we need to reduce the denominator?
But ultimately, you're reducing the denominator to 1.
Right. I guess, yes. I guess so. But in principle, there could be alternate algorithms here that start, from an increased, like if you have if you start from 1/18, then, you can get out of that easily, or if you, well,
So so what we just argued was that at least after the first time through, your denominators are getting smaller. And if you do it again, the denominator gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Can that go on forever? Can you keep making your numbers smaller and smaller forever?
No.
Well, no. Eventually you're going to hit 1, or a whole number for your denominator, at which point you get to 0, right? You win. So what you guys have just argued here is that we have an argument for saying that the denominator with this procedure always does get smaller every time. Eventually it will become 1. So this procedure will work all the time. We know it will. Now, is it the best procedure? That's a different discussion. We could argue, we keep arguing, but you guys have it. Theorem. That's a proof. We know that the thing to do is we should turn them around when it's positive, and we should do-si-do when it's negative. That's the rule. What's that? Can you say that again?
I was like, now let's do it.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, I love that spirit. Okay, let's do it. So one more time. One last time. Let's try it. Let's see if it actually works, this scheme of ours. Do we remember what the rule was again?
Yeah.
What was it?
Turn around is positive.
Okay.
Do-si-do is negative.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so let's start at 0. We're just quickly get something on there. Okay, do-si-do. Go. 1.
Do a bunch of random moves.
Do-si-do. Okay, do-si-do. That was 3, right? Do-si-do. And do-si-do. Okay, turn them around. Do-si-do.
That's the wrong direction.
Oh, did you guys go the right direction?
We did.
Oh, good. Okay, do-si-do again, because that could definitely mess us up. Just saying. 4/5 plus 5/5. Oh yeah, that's 9/5, I think. Okay, do-si-do again. I think that is 14/5. Okay, good. Do-si-do again. 18/5. Okay, and
19/5.
oh yeah, good. Save the day. Okay, see, it's hard to, basic arithmetic is hard. Okay, turn around.
Turn.
We're at -5/19. Okay, do-si-do. Go. What's -5/19 plus 19/19? I think that's 14/19. Okay, do-si-do again. Oh, now 14 plus 19. That's like 14 plus 20. I think we won. 33. 33/19, if we did that right. Did you guys do that last do-si-do? You did it, right? You did do it? I hope so. Okay, I wasn't keeping track. Okay, so here's the lovely tangle. This is 33/19, as it's known to its friends. There it is. That's cute. Okay, so let's, I'll erase this, and I'll put the 33/19 up here. Now, assuming we did all that right, 33/19. There's a problem with going in a hurry to make mistakes. All right, what do we do?
Turn around.
Turn them around.
Yeah.
-19 33rds. Go. Now what?
Do-si-do.
Do. Okay, what's 33 minus 19? Like minus 20, which is 13 plus 1 is 14. Is that right? Oops. Only if I get a 33 on the bottom. Okay. What am I doing now?
Turn around.
Turn around. Okay. Turn around. -33/14. Now what?
Do-si-do.
Do-si-do. Oh yeah. -33 plus 14 now. Now 3 plus 23 plus 10, 23, 19. Okay.
Yeah, we were there.
Okay. Now what?
We guys were in that.
-19/14. What's the rule?
Do-si-do.
Do-si-do.
Let's see.
Okay. Well, that's -5/14. If I did that right. I'm feeling better with the 5. Okay.
Do-si-do.
Okay. And that one is 14 minus 5 is 9. 9/14. Now what? Turn around. What's that? Or, yeah, never mind. I knew that. Okay, now what? Oh, yeah, do-si-do. Do-si-do. Negative 14 ninths plus 9 ninths is negative 5 ninths. Go ahead. Now what? Do-si-do. What? 4 ninths. Thank you. Now what? Turn around. Oh, and that's negative 9/4. I can handle that one. Do-si, is that a do-si-do?
Yep.
Okay, do-si-do.
No.
Negative 9/4 plus 4/4, negative 5/4. Now what? Do-si-do. Okay, negative 1/4. Okay, do-si-do again, one more time. 3/4. Turn around. Turn them around, that's negative 4/3. So this is negative 1/3. Okay, and we're at 2/3. Go ahead. Turn around. Negative 3/2. This feels familiar. Then what?
Do-si-do.
Do-si-do. That's negative 1/2. Then
Do-si-do.
do-si-do. Make sure you do it the right way. Good. Enough. Now what? Turn around. Negative 2. Okay. Turn and then do-si-do. Go ahead. And I can't write. And stop there. Nicely done. So I think our theorem worked out for us. That looks like it checks. Nice job, everybody. That was great. Nice job. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming. And if people want to talk or ask me questions, I'm happy to hang out.
Who was the person who discovered the do-si-do turn around?
John Conway is the name of the mathematician who came up with that.
So if we Google him, will he explain how he came up with those two maths?
Oh.
With the rule, yeah.
So here's where I have to admit to a certain amount of subtlety. So Conway didn't use this, actually. He used continued fraction expansions. And people who worked with Conway's work changed it to this as a simpler way to do
There's a
it.
whole bunch of people involved in getting.
Yeah, the thing is, once you have somebody who originates a thing, then everybody just goes to town on it, and then, it takes on a life of its own. So his paper actually has, so the way he does it is, every time you twist, he does twisting in both directions. He doesn't do the turnaround. He just has twisting this way and twisting this way. And he also has twisting backwards in both directions as a thing. And then he represents those with tower of fraction. Every time you twist a different direction, new level of the fraction. And it's just like a monster thing. The thing is that that's equivalent to just a fraction. And so people realized, you don't need to have a tower like that to figure this out. You can just do these rules and have it work out simpler. However, the tower can help, like, if you're looking, like you said, if you're looking at the DNA or looking at the tangle and you're trying to figure out what it is, Conway's approach of twisting this way, twisting that way might be a way to start, where you have a tower of a fraction and then you simplify it to something here.
So is there a name for this mathematical discipline?
Knot theory is what Conway was trying to do when he was doing this. But there's also a certain amount of number theory in here.
Was he a Boy Scout?
Conway? That's a good question. I don't know. I actually don't know.
Or a sailor. They're not fair.
Yeah, there's an amazing book called the Ashley Book of Knots that has like all these beautiful knots in it. It's just fantastic. Yeah. It has all these beautiful knots in it. But knot theory is sort of a new area of mathematics. It's a lot of areas of mathematics like calculus. Calculus is pretty new by math standards. It's only 300 or 400 years old, right? Pretty much. It's a baby. Geometry, that's really old. Geometry is thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. At least 4,000, depending on who you ask, but like it's very old. If, you know, if you go back even farther. Algebra is kind of young. That one's maybe 1,000-ish years old. I'm just ballparking here, but that one's kind of old. You know, 1,000 years is pretty good. But knot theory, less than 100 years old. Very young.
So does AI work
Yeah.
on this?
You know, we need to ask ChatGPT what it can do with this. I don't know.
I mean, it is designed to do pattern recognition. So
I mean, has anyone turned it loose on proving theorems yet? I don't know.
They do coding with it.
Maybe.
ChatGPT is not math friendly though. It's kind of dumb when it comes to math.
That would be fun to put in there.
There are programs that are theorem provers that just prove everything that can be proven from a set of axioms, but they're pretty dumb too. They just do it all and then hope that something interesting will pop out from.
Well, we got 15 minutes to get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.